Alright guys, Lord Nolan here, and today we're going to talk about CP0, the Shishibukai, and Sword. First, I also want to talk about Akainu and Aokiji, because I was watching a King of Lightning video, and he was talking about how maybe Aokiji took all those hits in order to become a underling of Blackbeard as a member of Sword, to make his story more believable. Now, like, I would like to believe that, but I feel like there's something else there. I don't know. I feel like there's something else there. I feel like the fight, and this is just a random theory that I thought of. A fight between Aokiji and Akainu, even if it's for the world, not the world, for the fleet admiral position, I feel like that wouldn't be why they would fight. I don't think they'd fight over that. Aokiji doesn't seem like the type to fight over something like that. But I do believe something else happened. I believe that maybe because Sengoku chose an Aokiji, that the world government disapproved, and they sent assassins or a assassin, somebody extremely strong, extremely powerful, to take on Aokiji. And Akainu, being a member of Sword, knew something was going to happen. And it was somebody very strong, somebody strong enough that two admirals were left with scars and missing limbs and pieces of their body deformed. And that's why Aokiji left. And that's why Akainu didn't care if he left. Why he dismissed the Gorosei's, the Gorosei's complaints about Aokiji joining Blackbeard. Akainu knew, he was like, y'all sent assassins after him. If I hadn't shown up and fought him with Aokiji, Aokiji would be dead. And maybe the Gorosei don't know that they fought together. Maybe they believe Aokiji fought their assassin and won. And then Akainu showed up and they fought again. So they're probably thinking Aokiji's far stronger than Akainu, because he could beat their assassin and then take on Akainu for 10 days. Maybe they think this guy's too strong to go to Blackbeard, because if he could take out our best guy and still last 10 days with Akainu, even if he lost, that's not the point. The point is he took a high difficulty fight and still took on an admiral and lost after 10 days. Because you got to think about it. Maybe the world government, knowing that Aokiji is not the best choice, and that Sengoku is a hero to the Marines and the Navy, knowing that, they were like, well, we can't just outright say we don't want him, because we'd have to come up with a reason. If we come up with the reason that we really don't want him, then, maybe, the Marines start questioning us. So we'll quietly take him out, and then we'll put who we want, which would have been Akainu. But because Akainu is a member of Sword, he counters the world government, and he'll fight to defend any Marine who he believes is out for justice. Now, I mean, Aokiji is what they called lazy justice or something like that. Yeah, lazy justice. But he still, when push came to shove, would fight for the Marines. He'd fight for the Navy. He'd make sure that the world was safe. He would take out any evil person who would be a danger to the world. And so that brings me to the next point. Now that first part, that's a side theory. That's a side theory for this. The next point, the secret war being waged by the CP, the Cipher Pole Agency, the Sword Agency, and the Shishibukai, run entirely or thought to be run by the world government. Now, I don't believe Sword works with the world government. I think Sword is strictly Navy. But they're Marines that work under the world government. And so the world government, not knowing, I don't think they know Sword exists, not knowing Sword exists, they use the Marines in however way they see fit, but they still collect intel from what the world government has sent them out to do. CP is still, that's 100% world government. They're government assassins, government, that's like the CIA or the KGB or some shit like that. Like, CP is straight up world government. The Shishibukai, also another thing that was straight up world government. But the Shishibukai was kind of like a far more clandestine organization because they were out in the open about it. These were going to be their, kind of like their pirate version of what CP0 is, except CP0 is hidden. The Shishibukai it's way out in the open. It's right in your face. It's hitting you in the mouth. The only people that know about CP is kings and nobility. And like, if you're not one of them, you probably don't know about it because they're supposed to be secret. But the Shishibukai, everyone knows about them. Everyone knows who the Seven Warlords are. Everyone's seen the Seven Warlords. Everyone has seen what they can do. And as such, I believe that the things that Crocodile and Doflamingo did weren't by mistake. They were ordered to do those things by the world government. Now, people may think like, oh, Crocodile just had ambitions and oh, Doflamingo just had ambitions. I feel like yes, but I feel like they asked all of the Shishibukai to do a certain thing. Even Buggy did it. Think about this. Buggy owns an island. He runs an island. Buggy runs an island. Boa Hancock runs an island. Doflamingo ran an island. And Crocodile was on his way to running an island. I think that the warlords was kind of like their way to broker deals with the underworld and to keep piracy in check without having to get their actual hands dirty. And also to supplement their forces against Yonko, because Yonko are too powerful for the Navy alone, up until whatever Vegapunk made, and so they needed the Shishibukai, and they wanted them in strategic positions all over the Grand Line in order to have pirate and black market and underworld trade to bolster their pockets, their manpower, and at the same time to give them strategic positions they couldn't have gained otherwise. They couldn't just go in and take over Alabasta. I mean, they could, but it would leave a sour taste in people's mouth. But the way Crocodile did it, he made it seem like that king was a bad king. And he was coming in as the savior, the Navy-backed pirate savior. Doflamingo did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Doflamingo came in and he made that guy looked like a bad king. A king that wasn't good for any country under the world government's control. And he took that country. He made a black market. He made a slave workforce. He made what you call it? He imprisoned pirates that were dangerous, or that knew too much, or that weren't strong enough to be manipulated by Doflamingo and have him join him, or weren't easily manipulated. So he wasn't just getting rid of pirates, he was enslaving pirates, he was enslaving people that questioned people, and he was getting the world government weapons and money. And at the same time, he also had infiltrated Kaido's Yonko alliance, his crew. He's a Shishibukai, and he was part of Kaido's alliance. Out in the open, he was just a Shishibukai. But behind the scenes, he was part of Kaido's alliance. He ran the black market pretty much. He was the leader of all things underworld, practically. He was the broker of everything. He had his hands in every pot. He had slaves coming in that were just regular people that he turned into toys. He was doing all of the world government's dirty work for them. And he knew all the world government's secrets, because I believe they told him things. They told him things to do. And because they were telling him certain things, he had information that other people weren't privy to. Same thing with Crocodile. That's why when they got locked up, they got sent deep into the prison. Now, Buggy, he just took an empty island, but I'm pretty sure it was probably strategic. Mihawk is Mihawk. When they need him, he's the world's strongest swordsman. There's no questioning his power. And so having Mihawk is just a status symbol, and at the same time is a very powerful ally to take on any issue that's too much for the Marines. Plus, any island Mihawk inhabits is automatically under his control, and nobody's gonna mess with that. He'll take out pirates on a whim. He goes where he pleases, but he'll come if a major thing happens, like Whitebeard. That's a strong ally. Boa Hancock on a whim will go out and demolish pirates. But at the same time, she's a bit of a, but she's still the world's most beautiful woman, according to, I would assume, most people. I don't know how. I mean, honestly, she's rather beautiful, but I like pretty much most of the chicks in One Piece that are under the age of, I'm guessing, 50. Because I think Oda, once they hit like 50, it's just like, so, he draws very attractive women. So Boa Hancock being the most beautiful woman in the world, I don't want to go there, but she has the title. So that having the most beautiful girl in the world, the most powerful swordsman in the world, the greatest swordsman in the world, the heavenly demon, Crocodile is like the strong broker of a pirate organization, or he used to be, you know what I mean? Before Luffy took that apart. You got Kuma, which is like anytime Kuma showed up, people were in fear that they were going to be either eradicated or sent someplace far away into the vast reaches of wherever. Freaking Jinbei, the Knight of the Sea, a fishman who took over the Sun Pirates and is literally it's the only fishman pirate crew in the world. So they literally have an above and underwater fighting force. We all know how that turned out, but still, he was one of them. You got Trafalgar Law, which, that was kind of a chess play thing. You had Blackbeard until, he did his thing, but Blackbeard was also an extremely powerful person. He took Crocodile's spot. The dude had the ability to create black holes and decimate whole towns on his own. That in and of itself is a powerful person. And the man not only took out Whitebeard, but he has 2 devil fruits. Now, the second he got the second devil fruit, he left. World government didn't see that coming, but, whatever. He was a very powerful individual that they had at one point. Then you got Weevil. the self-proclaimed son of Whitebeard, who just leagues above most other pirates. Strong as I don't know what, dumb as rocks, so he's possibly easy to manipulate. But he was mostly just going out and wiping out all of old crew members of Whitebeards, which the world government don't care about because they wanted all them people dead anyway. So, he was doing that dirty work without even thinking twice about it. They didn't even have to ask. It's just like, yeah, go do what you're gonna do. Back in with our people. Like the world government uses them as cleanup crews, as strategic positioned fortresses, ways to clean out kings that they find problematic. It's a secret war that they waged out in the open. And then you got CP, which will literally assassinate whoever the world government needs them to. They have no questions asked. They're the most loyal people in the world government. They'll do whatever it takes. They'll make any deal, kill any person, take any position, spy on any person, infiltrate any organization. Stussy. CP9 before they became CP0. Freaking, when they were pretending to be shipwrights in Water 7. The guys who went and saw Orochi from CP organization that wore the mask, they were trying to get weapons from him. Because no more Doflamingo, no more guy who could literally do it as a pirate. So the world government had to send out somebody. They sent out CP because they were people that nobody knew about. They're just guys in masks. Nobody knows what the heck no one knows who they really are. No one knows what the cloaks and the masks people are doing. It's like, oh, that's some strange shit. And these guys are going into the palace, so they must be important. They don't know who they are, though. And then you got, the whole, like, the Navy kind of knows who they are, but, like, it's like a Navy secret. Like, it's a secret amongst members of the military. Like, you have to be in the Navy or a Marine in order to know who CP is. You are privy to more secrets as a Navy, as a Navy member. And I don't know how far down they know about it, but Lucci fell onto a boat fighting Luffy, and people knew. It was like, oh, dang. And Lucci was like, well, I can't have y'all know who I am, so I gotta kill you. And they're like, oh, dang, like, dude, we just saw you. It's not that big issue. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like, it was like the CP units are ready to pretty much kill anyone to keep their secret. Now, Sword, on the other hand, Sword is, I believe, 100% Navy. And Sword, I would assume, has random idea just hit me. What if Garp is the leader of Sword? What if Garp created Sword with Sengoku? And the chick that was with them, they were the big three guys the big three people back in the day. It was that old lady who rings people out and cleans their, I guess cleans their soul or something like that, turns them into good people. And then Sengoku and Garp. I can't remember her name right now. I'm terrible with names because there's so many names. But, like, what if they're the leaders of Sword? And that's why they keep placing people in very high up positions. They keep recruiting a certain type. Like, if they don't believe in you, they kind of just let you be a regular Marine. But if they believe in you, they train the mess out of you. Look at Kobe. He's already a rear admiral. Freaking Drake. I don't think he's a vice admiral right now, I think. Or he was a former vice admiral, but, like, secretly he's still kind of a vice admiral. Captain of Sword. And then Kobe, member of Sword. Akainu. That dude, like, even in King of Lightning's video, I saw it before that, but even in King of Lightning's video, he talks about the sword. So it's like, I see it before that, and another person's talking about it. I mean, that can't be a coincidence. And people were pointing it out to him in his stream, so other people thought about it. So that, like, he's got to be a member of Sword. And a very high up, like, I'm talking just beneath Garp, Sengoku, and that chick type member. And now, if those three aren't the people that created it, then I would say Akainu is its leader, but I don't think he created it. And maybe as the the commander in chief, maybe Kong created it. But we don't know much about Kong. I know the personalities of Garp, and Goku, and I'm just gonna call her Granny. I know the personalities of Garp, and Goku, and Granny. They seem like extremely decent people, overly decent for what you would believe most Marines are based off of their portrayals. But then at the same time, when you look at Marines, they believe they're doing good things. Even when they buster call a place, they believe they're doing something good. They're doing the right thing. Now, the higher you go up, the more corruption you see. And that's where I believe Garp and Goku and Granny decided, like, yo, this isn't what we thought the Marines would be. We gotta have some way to check the world government because they're taking it too far. And so I believe that I honestly believe they created Sword. And if not all three of them, then at least Garp. Then at least Garp had created them. And, you know, like Garp and Sengoku, maybe Granny didn't know about it because she was off doing other things while Garp and Sengoku were fighting. Because usually when you see Garp and Sengoku, they're fighting together. You don't really see Granny in flashbacks with all of them except for when they're really young, or she'll be heading off and then you'll see the others going in their separate direction to fight a bigger threat or something. She's going off on her own because she can handle herself to fight a normal to heavy threat. But they're going for the heavy hitting threats, like the big moms and the Rogers and the Whitebeards and the Shikis and the Kaidos and all that. They're out there doing that. And she'll help with the planning, I believe. I think her and Sengoku were the strategists or something, and Garp and Sengoku were the muscle. And then she'd clean up everything that was afterwards. I'm piecing that together based on what I've seen in the story, but I feel like that's what it is. And I've heard somebody else say that she's a strategist, so I think that her and Sengoku were kind of probably strategizing, but Sengoku and Garp would actually go out and do the main fighting, and then she'd come in and wring the guy's souls dry or whatever, or souls into good or whatever. But I think that they made Sword so that they could keep an eye on what the world government is doing so they could counter it. Because they knew that the world government had so many clandestine operations and they were bad people and they're constantly trying to take on people and stuff like that they didn't need to. Things like shooting fishermen for no reason, blowing up a kid's boat for no reason, enslaving people, making slave markets, having people literally freaking push their not stairs, but push their sidewalks in a massive slave sidewalk contraption machine. It was like a conveyor belt for people run on people. Who would need that? You can't there's no such thing as electricity. You're powering ships on cola. You can't make electricity. Come on. But whatever. That's the world government's thing. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to assert their dominance over people. They've seen them enslave people and do horrible things to them. I can only imagine what happened to Boa Hancock and her sisters, or what happens to the mermaids. Because the dude was talking about putting her in a freaking fish tank and letting piranhas eat her. You know what I mean? That's the type of things the world government do. They got Kuma and they're using him as a pincushion. So it's they needed something to check them. So they created Sword, and they only selected people that they knew had a strong moral compass. And I believe, because they say that Akainu is a bad guy, but I don't think that. I think Akainu is a realist. Okay, because even with Ohara, think about this. Imagine that even one person, like Robin, obviously not strong like Robin, but like one person that could read a poneglyph like Robin were to leave that island with that knowledge, that wasn't Robin, or everyone in the island were to leave with that knowledge, they were to just let them go. How long before you see a Yonko agent collect one? How long before you see a pirate, that just any pirate, who happens to know about O'Hara and the intelligence of these people and hears this guy's claim? Like if he'd have let the guy say the name of the lost kingdom or whatever and live and let them go about their business. Imagine what would have happened if they had spread out, like went on, or somebody came to the island and decided they would take one and kill everyone else so that nobody else knew about it. Why not have it to where nobody knows except for the people who already know, which is the world government? Then leave this literal treasure trove and straight arrow to the path of Pirate King and or most powerful, like most powerful like entity, whatever it may be, whoever shows up, whether it be pirate or a kingdom or whatever, a Yonko, whatever. You're giving them the keys to be the most powerful entity on the planet by leaving these super intelligent people with the outright just denial of all things world government. Like you're leaving them in the wind. Like you can't have such a thing, like as someone who's trying to preserve the world's peace. You can't have someone like that out there just doing whatever, because all it takes is Big Mom stealing one of them, Kaido stealing one of them, Blackbeard for sure stealing one of them, Crocodile stealing one of them, Doflamingo stealing one of them. You know, like, and any other number of random aggressive Germa 66 stealing one of them. Like any other number of large, massive army, and a little bit of malevolence and or a little bit of like ambition and or just somebody who's trying to become Pirate King. And now you got a whole nother laundry list of issues, because I'm pretty sure they could decipher the poneglyphs. I think all of them could. So that means they could find ancient weapons. That means they could find Raftel. That means they know all about the secrets of the world government. That means that they also have extreme knowledge of the world at large, so they could make strategies that most other people would have no idea how to do. Like, they have someone with an IQ that is probably the highest in the world, so they could figure out things at a level that most people can't. The people of O'Hara are supposedly the smartest people in the world. So I believe that he did it for a very important reason, which is to maintain the stability of the world. Now, I don't know why no one took anybody from O'Hara, because Rox is before, and, you know, Roger came, and he was before O'Hara got destroyed. Like, because Robin's 30. So O'Hara got destroyed around the same time as Roger was out and about. But Rox was before then, right? Because I know Robin's 30-something. Roger died 20-something years ago. So that means that Roger was out and about while O'Hara was, it was still a thing. It was still around. But, like, I feel like somewhere around the time that Roger was like voyaging or something, he may have landed on O'Hara and learned some stuff from them. Because Rayleigh knew about O'Hara. So, but yeah, there's like this really deep clandestine war being waged by the world government and Sword. The Shishibukai were part of it, but with the powerful weapon that I'm assuming Vegapunk made that made them obsolete, they didn't need them anymore. Because the world government can spin its own story. That's not the issue. The issue is having somebody strong enough and willing to do it. Now, at the elimination of the Shishibukai, the world government looks like heroes again. And now they're taking back control of the seas from the pirates that they entrusted with it that failed them. And so now they have a little bit of leeway and leverage to go out and kind of just carte blanche to do whatever. Like they could literally, like everyone sees them as heroes right now, and they can practically do whatever they want, and people will believe it for a good while now. Plus, with the assassination, which I'm gonna make that another video, with that assassination and all that, and them capturing and all that stuff like that, they're defending the kings. They're defending the reverie. So not only did they defend the rest of the kings, but at the same time, they're taking out the pirates that are threatening the world government's stability. So they're looking like heroes. And the people of Sword are following everything that the world government does. Like I'm pretty sure they know about Stussy infiltrating Big Mom. And Drake knows about the CP agents visiting Orochi. And he's telling them, like, because obviously the Navy didn't know about it. And so he's like, hey, like, CP members were here. Like, they were talking to Orochi. I don't know what they were talking about, but something's going on here. Like, they're trying to make connections in Wano or something. And then they also are privy to things that are going on that are probably secret from most Marines. Like, they're privy to stuff that CP0's doing. Not the plans, but what they're doing. I guess, like, they're watching CP0. They're keeping track of the things that the world government is telling them to do. And they're infiltrating pirate crews. Now, both the world government and Sword have infiltrated most of the Yonko crews. And I'm sure that there's, like, they even infiltrated Big News Morgan's news thing. It's like a flying thing, I'm sure. I think it's flying. It looked like it was in the sky. But yeah, they even infiltrated Big News Morgan's. So, like, they're working their way into almost every organization. They're kind of trying to keep track. The only one that they probably don't have their mitts in is like, or the only ones they probably don't have their mitts in is like the more powerful and loyal pirate crews. Like, obviously, like they're probably not involved in any of the worst generation, or like they're probably not involved in, like, say someone like just like they, you know, I kind of, I don't really know any other pirates that have been defeated. So like I think maybe like the worst generation and people of that ilk, like people that are that strong. But like they definitely got, like, in armadas, they definitely got people in Kaido's, like in Kaido's large Yonko empire, Big Mom's large Yonko empire, Blackbeard's large Yonko empire. Shanks, you know, I think, now hear me out on this one. I think that the person that infiltrated Shanks's pirate crew found out the type of person that Shanks is, and maybe the world government now cooperates with Shanks because of the person that infiltrated Shanks's crew, and because of how he handled it. And because of how reasonable Shanks is and how he's always trying to keep the peace, he'll take out people if he has to, and he's very strong, but he keeps the peace. He's not out there making waves. He's not out there trying to become pirate king. He's not out there. Literally, probably all he does is fight when he has to, and party, and travel the world because he wants to be free. And maybe the Navy guy was like, "Yo, this dude's literally just out here just doing him. Like he's not doing nothing to nobody. He's pretty okay." And so the world government's like, "Oh, really? Like, all right. Well, I mean, it would be nice to be on speaking terms with a Yonko." And so, hence Shank showing up at Reverie and him stopping a war, being able to talk to Sengoku. Like, Shanks is just that guy, and they infiltrated his organization and found out the inner workings, or some of the inner workings, or maybe even all of it. He's just so strong it doesn't matter what they know because he could demolish them. So it's like maybe they know everything about Shanks, and it's just like, yo, like Shanks is just cool. He's just that guy. Like, you know, we're all right with that. So the world government is trying to control all the kingdoms and or just strategic parts of the Grand Line. And you gotta remember, like, each of these places, like Doflamingo, the kingdom Doflamingo took out is in New World. The kingdom that Crocodile was taking out is in Paradise. Buggy, I think, is somewhere in the New World too, if I'm not mistaken. I think Buggy's somewhere in the New World, but like they're taking different pieces of the Grand Line. Like they're trying to manipulate their way into those places. And when Crocodile didn't get the job done, they disowned the whole system. Like they figured out a way to get beyond the system, and they still killed the king. Or maybe they still killed the king, but that's for another video. But the only real like threat to the world government is pirates, and the only thing to keep them in check is sword. Really, like they're the only thing that can keep track of it. The only thing that can keep them from going out of hand. Like they can maybe manipulate events so that the world government doesn't always get its way. Like letting go certain pirates, like Luffy. Like maybe not getting to a certain place to back someone up doing a clandestine mission in time. Maybe opening some gates for somebody. Maybe turning a blind eye to someone that's, about to take out someone that's about to do something really heinous. Really, that's the kind of things that Sword does. They keep track and they keep records of things that the world government's trying to do, and they slowly work into those things, and they kind of like throw wrenches in. So I'm hoping that we see a little bit more of what Sword does. And I'm also waiting to see what happens with Kobe and his affiliations with Sword. And also I kind of think that, Garp Sengoku and Granny created it, but whatever. It could be Kong, it could have been Akainu. Any one of those three options, or if it wasn't like all three of them, like Garp by himself and that other one, but any one of those four options. And I also kind of want to see how this clandestine war between the Marines that have good hearts and the CP agency and the world government at large plays out. That being said, if you like the video, drop a like, subscribe to Lord Nolan. If you got anything to say about the theory, anything that you think needs to be tweaked, or if it's perfect, whatever you feel, leave a comment. And then follow me on Instagram at Lord Nolan 91. Follow me on Facebook at Lord Nolan. And if you want to be a guest and you're in San Antonio, hit me up in the DMs on Instagram. And all guests will be dropped in a raffle in November. And the prize is anime and or movie memorabilia. It could be literally anything. And we'll give that prize to whoever wins it on Christmas, or somewhere in that general area, according to our schedules. Yeah, so that's it. Rolling out. I made a way for myself till I feel safe on the shelf. I know that niggas gon' hate. I'ma get paid if nothing else. Till I'm in the grave. Till I'm in the grave for myself. Fuck them, I don't need no help. I wanna change on myself. I made a way for myself till I feel safe on the shelf. I know that niggas gon' hate. I'ma get paid if nothing else. Till I'm in the grave. Till I'm in the grave for myself. Fuck them, I don't need no help. I wanna change on myself.